Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and Attention Coach Jeff Copper, and I'm really excited about this video today. With us as a guest is Heather Rogers, co-owner actually of Time Timer. Heather, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me, Jeff.
I got to thank Time Timer. They have been a loyal supporter of the Attention Talk Network for more than 10 years. And we bring our content to you because of Time Timer and other advertisers. And today I'm here because I was brainstorming with her the other day, and they have a timing device. So real quickly, if you could show them what this looks like so we can, it's a pie-shaped timer, and it shows the elapse, as time elapses in a pie shape, that red pie actually gets smaller as time elapses, correct?
Yes, exactly. And it runs on its own. You don't need to move it. It automatically counts down.
And the reason I'm a big fan of this is people with ADHD struggle with visual imagery. We've done lots of interviews with Dr. Russell Barkley, and the ability to see passage of time is difficult. And the beauty of this timer is you don't have to imagine it in your mind. You can just see the pie shrink as it goes through. And it's clearly a good use for people with ADHD, but there's another reason I haven't heard on the show that I'm really excited about. We've done a lot of talking about working memory, and when you sit and you engage in executive functioning tasks, you've got to kind of boot up your mind. So when you turn your computer on, it takes a while for the operating system to come up and the apps to come up and for you to begin working. Same thing happens with working memory. And forgive me here, because to understand this concept a little bit more, just Google Attention Talk Video rebooting, or the concept of rebooting, and I got a whole video related to that. Where I'm going with this is when you get into your mind, all those things that you're going to think about and you start working, the problem with it is if you get distracted, it evaporates. It's kind of like your computer getting unplugged and you have to start over. And more with the pandemic, people are working from home, and I've always thought of that timer as something to help me keep track of time. But Heather, you said, it's really good if you put the timer out and you show how much time is and say, don't interrupt me, if you will, until the pie shape is kind of gone. That's a different application to help people come and not interrupt you so that it doesn't create a working memory problem. So you have to start over. You guys are starting to see more and more use of this in the pandemic. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. It's, everyone's working at home and trying to manage, their kids who are going to school at home, and everything is very flexible these days. And so we know that if you need support with time management, at your work or at your school, you also need it at home. You don't change when you switch locations.
In fact, I think you actually kind of, the use of the device, not just for your time, but actually to put on the desk for other people to see it, is a unique thing at home, because it's because you're home, whether your kids, your spouse will maybe come interrupt you. And when you're on a task, if you can have a time timer that's showing them the passage time, hey, listen, I've got this much left of the pie before I really can be disturbed. It's an easy way to communicate with them visually so they know what's going on, because they don't really know what's happening with you. So I think this is just a really clever idea and a real useful tool for those with ADHD, and a lot of fun.
Yeah. So if you need to focus and don't want to be interrupted, it's a great way to communicate that. We actually learned about this use from software development firms that were buying Time Timer, and we learned that they were hanging them on the outside of cubicles, because when developers are writing their code, it's the same thing. You have to keep that train of thought, and it's very disruptive to stop and start.
So it's funny, because this was derived as a need to help. I guess Jan actually started, came up with the concept and kind of passed it on. So it came out of need, and so this is a new need that kind of came around. So to get a time timer, just go to timetimer.com. There's all kinds. You got watches, there's apps, there's a hard timer, there's a whiteboard. And so with that, Heather, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Everybody, please subscribe to our channel. Leave some comments. Ranches, what are your thoughts on this? With this, I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care.